Okay, good morning. Agriculture exams, test agriculture. So, okay, I find the question to be very easy, not very tough, right? Previous year questions, most of it was previous year questions. If you had prepared properly, good morning. Good morning. Agriculture exams, test agriculture. So, okay, I find the question to be very easy, not very tough, right? Previous year questions, most of it was previous year questions. If you had prepared properly, good morning. Good morning. Agriculture exams, test agriculture. So, okay, I find the question to be very easy, not very ஆடியோ ஓகேவா லைவ்ல அது இங்க வந்து இதெல்லாம் ஆஃப் பண்ணலாம் வச்சிருக்கேன் சரி இதை க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன் ஓகே லைவ் போச்சுதான் சூஸ் பண்ணிக்கிறீங்களா கனெக்ட் பண்ணுறேன் Okay. Okay, shall we start? If you start, something is happening. I don't know what is that. Okay. Hope it is not getting repeated again. Right. We'll start with the first question. The Constitution Day is celebrated on 26th November every year to promote constitutional values among citizens. Is there anything to be... Do you have any doubt about this question and about this statement? Because this is a very simple and a straight statement why we celebrate this Constitution Day, just to promote those constitutional values. Even if you don't, only thing, if you don't have any idea about it, only with 26th November, you might have some doubts. Yes, because on that day only everyone came and signed and they accepted this. That's what happened on 26th of November. Correct? Next statement too. On 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly of India set up a drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to prepare a draft constitution of India. No. That day, the constitution actually, they came and everyone signed. So the statement 2 is incorrect. That's it. This is very, very simple question. I hope everyone got that one correct. Yes. Next. In the context of Indian history, the principle of diarchy refers to. So when this diarchy came into, under which act? 1919 Act. See, I hope I told you this 1919, you can remember like diarchy, bicameralism, all these things happened on that act. 1919 itself, like 2 times it is there, right? So remember it like diarchy and bicameralism. Both the things happened on that year. And what does diarchy means? Where they actually split it into 2, the transfer list and the reserve list. Where under the, what are the transfer lists then? What is the difference between a transferred list and a reserved list? Once the question, UPSC question came, what are the transferred list or reserved list? They gave like 4 or 5 options and they asked to choose what will be the reserved list. Yes, that's what the question is about. Now you think and tell me, under which, what do you mean by transferred one? To whom they are getting transferred? To the Indians, one who is in the legislature, they were given certain powers. That comes under the transfer. That is, British is transferring certain powers to the Indians. That is what is transferred list. Reserve list is they are reserving certain lists for only the British to form laws. That is known as reserve list. Okay, this is what is the difference in the diarchy, that is transferred and reserved. And the question during the previous year, how it came is like they kept local self-government, police, land reforms, and one more thing I'm not able to remember. So they kept these 3 or 4 things and they asked which are the transferred list. And definitely, which one will be there? Local self-government will be there. Can police and land be there in that? Because police is with respect to controlling the Indians. Can a Britain transfer that to the Indians? That cannot even happen. Then land is something which generates revenue, and they continue to hold that with them. They doesn't want them to transfer it to Indians. So when certain questions come, whether you know or not the answer, just apply this logic. Will the Britain do this? Will they take the responsibility, or will they share this kind of revenue responsibility and controlling with Indians? Whether they will share. Think it, you will get the answer. You can't go and study each and everything for this. Clear? And English okay, right? And they want me to say in Tamil or something? Tamil. Okay. Okay. Next. The Government of India Act 1990 clearly defined. Why clearly defined? It clearly defined. Here only they clearly define what are the lists to be done by the Indians and what should be done by the Britain. So the jurisdiction of the central and the provisional, they transfer certain powers. That's why it is clearly defining. And that is the first time that where they define those things. It doesn't happen in 1909 or even before that. Only under 1919 these things came. Okay, but you also wanted to know the other points. The separation of power between the judiciary and the legislature. Did it happen? No, not in 1919, but under any act. Which act it happened? It is a PYQ. Okay. Next, the powers of the Secretary of State for India and Viceroy. Under which act actually they separated this Secretary of State and Viceroy? That's first war of independence happened in 1857. And after which one act came? Act of Good Government. One act came. And under that act, they dismantle everything, this board of control, this all these things they dismantled and came up with the Secretary of State and Viceroy. Yes. See, but when you are revising or doing PYQs, what you have to do is that you know the answer for this. I bet everyone will know the answer for these questions and you will be having it in your fingertip. But what you must do is there are certain points which they gave, the other points, just note down under what statement this question will be coming. Now, if you are talking about the powers of the Secretary of State and Viceroy, எந்த ஆக்டுக்கு கீழே அந்த இதை வந்து டிஃபைன் பண்ணாங்க அது உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும். It is not only working on the question அந்த ஆப்ஷன் மட்டும் படிக்கிறது கிடையாது. PYQ பாருங்கன்னு சொல்றது it doesn't mean that way. Rather, you have to analyze எந்த மாதிரி question frame பண்றாங்க, இந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்டை எப்படி தப்பாக்குறாங்க, how they are making a normal statement would be there, but they will put a single word to make that statement wrong. What is that one single word? And மத்த ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு இல்லையா, அந்த ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் கரெக்ட் இல்ல நீங்க நினைக்கிறீங்க இல்லையா, இந்த கொஸ்டினுக்கு இந்த ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் கரெக்ட் இல்ல, பட் இந்த ஆப்ஷன் வேற கொஸ்டினுக்கு கரெக்டா இருக்கலாம். இல்லைன்னா அந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் வந்து வேற ஏதாவது ஒரு இயர்ல நடந்திருக்கலாம், இல்ல ஒரு ஆக்ட் மூலமா வந்திருக்கலாம். Study that also. That is what you have to do it in PYQ analysis. Not like remembering the answers. This question may or may not come. Our purpose is not that. Clear? The next one. With reference to the Government of India Act 1935, consider the following statements. It provided for the establishment of an all-India federation based on the union of the British Indian provinces and princely states. Defense and foreign affairs were kept under the control of the federal legislature. Both correct. எந்த ஆக்ட் இது எந்த ஆக்ட்? கவர்மெண்ட் ஆஃப் இந்தியா ஆக்ட் 1935 அப்போ டிஃபென்ஸையும் ஃபாரின் அஃபேர்ஸையும் இந்தியன் ஃபெடரல் லெஜிஸ்லேச்சர் கீழே கொடுத்திருப்பாங்களா? Well, see, that is why I'm asking you to think, even you know or not, in federal legislature, யாரெல்லாம் இருப்பாங்க, பிரிட்டிஷ் இந்தியன் ப்ராவின்சஸ்ல இருந்து எல்லா லெஜிஸ்லேச்சர்ஸும் அங்க போயிருப்பாங்க, representatives will be there. Will defense and foreign affairs will be given to those Indians? Just think in such a manner. புரியுதா? Will that happen? So then how World War II நம்ம வந்து Britain took it all those things by itself, right? How that happened then? ஏன் ஒரு மாதிரி முழிக்கிறீங்க, எனக்கு தான் பயமா இருக்கு. புரியுதா புரியலையா? See, you may or may not know, but just apply the logic and see. First question for இது சொன்னா transfer list and the reserve list. I told one logic. Will the Britain do that? அப்படின்னு சொல்றேன்ல. It is Government of India Act 1935. Even if it is Indian Independence Act 1947, நீங்க திங்க் பண்ணா கூட ஓகே, மேபி அங்க கொடுத்துக்கலாம் கொடுக்காம இருந்துக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு நீங்க யோசிக்கலாம். But 1935, the Britain stayed in India for more than 12 years. Under that circumstances, can the British give the defense and foreign affairs power to the federal legislature? அதை ரிசர்வ் லிஸ்ட்ல தானே வச்சிருப்பாங்க, அவங்க தானே ரிசர்வ் பண்ணி வச்சிருப்பாங்க. How will they share that kind of power with the legislatures? Apply these kind of logic in your exams. புரிஞ்சுதா? So in this, the first statement is right. It provided for the establishment, but whether that happened, whether All India Federation came into the picture, no. Did it come or not? See, they told that we will form, but it doesn't come into picture. They told that we are going to form this All India Federation, but that didn't happen. Okay. And the second one, it was kept under the control of the federal legislature. Federal legislature na yaar varuvana nenikreenga? See, like if you take it into the current scenario, Lok Sabha MPs are there, right? Then will the Indian people will be dominated there? Over claim pathina, the representative of Indians will be actually increasing in the legislature. Will the legislature agree for World War II pono adina Britain solumbodhu? Will the legislature agree for that? Never. That is not going to happen. And foreign affairs link panalangumbodhu, that also will not happen, right? So those things were kept under the Britain. Clear? Purinjudha? Then the next one. Which of the following statements is not correct regarding the Indian Independence Act of 1947? I'm sorry. Okay, which of the following statements are correct? The third roundtable conference met in London in November 1932 without the participation of Congress. It is correct. And which is the only conference that Congress attended? And who was the representative of that? Yes. The discussions in the third roundtable conference led to the passing of the Government of India Act 1935. Yes, they came up with the white papers and everyone were discussing, and finally to give up this Government of India Act 1935. Then Government of India Act 1935 did not favor the idea of provincial autonomy. Is that true? Is that true? See, in 1935 Act, they told the provincial autonomy was given. That was the major criteria. Only then major reforms have been taken in the provinces of British. Okay. Next, the governor was not given any power in the Act of 1935 to take over and run the administration of a province. Will the British do that? See, government நீங்க எதுவுமே பண்ண வேண்டாம், ப்ராவின்ஸ் அவங்களே பண்ணிப்பாங்க, நீங்க சும்மா மட்டும் இருங்கன்னு எந்த பிரிட்டனாவது கவர்னர் கிட்ட சொல்லுவாங்களா? That doesn't happen, right? Even today, we have governor as a central government agent in the states. If there is anything going unconstitutional or any problems happens, the governor will send a report to the president. Even today we have that. Then during colonial times, how will that be? Okay? யாராவது இந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் கரெக்ட்னு போட்டீங்களா? பரவாயில்ல. There is no need to be shy at all. If you tell me what kind of logic you put, நீங்க அதை சொன்னீங்கன்னா I can help you. That's why I'm asking. யாராவது தப்பா போட்டீங்களா? Okay, no problem. We will talk. வேற யாராச்சும்? Okay, done. So the first and the second statement is wrong. The third and the fourth one is, see, first and second one is right, and the third and fourth is wrong. Okay. The sixth one, which of the following statement is not correct regarding the Indian Independence Act of 1947? It abolished the office of the Secretary of State of India and transferred its functions to the Governor General of India. The first one, it empowered the Constituent Assembly to do ordinary legislations till the new constitution was drafted and enforced. It abolished the office of Viceroy and provided a Governor General who was to be appointed by the British King. It granted freedom to the Indian princely states either to join the Dominion of India or Dominion of Pakistan or to remain independent. So the question is about, is not correct. Correct? Whether they abolished the Secretary of State under this act, Indian Independence of Act 90 Secretary of State, they just removed it and gave the powers to the Governor General. Did that happen? That is right. They had this Commonwealth nations for concept. All the colonies will be coming together for Commonwealth. Even today we have that. Okay. The rest, all three statements are right. See, this is a way of UPSC asking what they do. There are two statements. They tend to give one statement is right and the other statement wrong. Like, it abolished the office of the Secretary of State of India. That is correct. And transferred its functions to the Governor General of India. The second statement is wrong. UPSC also gives these kind of statements. Like if there is two statements, one statement tends to be mostly right and the other one mostly wrong. You can be extra cautious at that time. Okay. The next one. In the context of historical underpinnings of the Indian constitutions, which of the following acts introduced ordinances for the first time? Which is the first ordinance issued? You know, everyone knows in which year this ordinance came. But what is the first ordinance that came into? ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. ஆனா எது ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆர்டினன்ஸா எதை கொடுத்தாங்கன்னு கேக்குறேன். செக் பண்ணி பாருங்க. நான் சொல்ல மாட்டேன். இதை நீங்க செக் பண்ணி பாருங்க. ஓகே. Only then you will remember it. இதெல்லாம் பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்றது தெரியும். Because already this questions been asked. So Indian Councils Act of 1867, first time ordinances அப்படின்னு கொண்டுச்சு. So what is that ordinance? Okay. The next one, 8. Consider the following pairs. Committees of Constituent Assembly and Chairman. States Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru. Rules of Procedure Committee, Vallabhbhai Patel. Steering Committee, Rajendra Prasad. So Rules of Procedure Committee, who headed it? See, I was telling you about this PIB document, right? In this everything, just at 30 pages, எல்லா பேஜ்லயும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 2-3 லைன் தான் இருக்கும், not more than that. Dr. Ambedkar initially contested the Constituent Assembly seat from Bombay Presidency but lost. He was then elected to the Assembly from Bengal but lost his seat after the partition. How many women members were there in the Constituent Assembly? See, on December 9, 1946, the session began with the singing of Vande Mataram. This is what I was talking about. And the inaugural address was given by Acharya Kripalani. Because we tend to think that the first address would be itself is the objectives resolution in our assumption, but that doesn't happen. But first it was an inaugural address and was given by Acharya Kripalani. And these things, everything was already in your polity book, but still. Transitional Assembly. Wait. Rajendra Prasad chaired several key committees, including those on rules of procedure, steering, finance and staff, and the national flag. I hope you might not be knowing about that national flag, right? National flag in a committee and it was headed by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Clear? See, actually, I found this document to be very important and only 30 pages. And lines not much more than that. You can get it. Okay. Next. So, this is what? So, Rules of Procedure Committee is Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Next. How many of the following are the members of the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly of India? Okay, Syed Mohammed Sadullah. Who was he? Sorry, okay. Dr. K.M. Munshi. N. Gopal Swami Iyengar. Yes ma'am, K.M. Munshi, Dr. K.M. Munshi, எதுல read பண்ணீங்க? Okay, B.N. Rao. He was the advisor for making of the constitution. He was the one who studied various constitutions of the country and helped in framing a new one. Okay. Then who was the other one? Dr. K.M. Munshi. That's what you're telling, right? Okay. Think like anything after sometimes anyone went abdin pamari think pani paranga. He was initially the finance minister, right? He was kept like that, I think so. No, he was. All three. Okay. Okay, we'll just keep this as mark. We will check it out, okay? Okay, who was the first chairman of the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly of India? So these things are very simple questions, okay? Don't even try to make any mistakes. See, with respect to the previous question, Sadullah, he was Syed Mohammed Sadullah, he was the member. Dr. K.M. Munshi was also a member, and N. Gopal Swami Iyengar was also the member of the Constituent Assembly. Okay, that thing is actually wrong. Then B.N. Rao was actually the constitutional advisor. Okay. And with respect to the 10th question, who was the first chairman of the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly of India? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Everyone knows that. Okay. Consider the following provisions. See, when you write that drafting committee, B.R. Ambedkar headed it. Then what about the other three persons? Then you must know that. Jawaharlal Nehru, what are the committees that he headed? Dr. Rajendra Prasad, any. Is there any committee headed by C. Rajagopalachari? Yes or no? Some are saying yes, some are saying no. What was he? He's the last Governor General, you can tell, or you can also tell the first Indian to be the Governor General. Okay. Consider the following provisions of the Constitution of India which came into effect on November 26, 1949. Which two things came into effect on the day of signing of the Constitution itself, November 26, 1949? The enforcement of fundamental rights, DPSP, all these things came on the day of. Even now, we don't have the enforcement mechanisms for DPSP. We are just keeping it, and it is up to the state to just follow it. That is what it is. So, fundamental rights came on only 26th of January 1950, but the rest of all the things came on 26th November 1949. Clear? Next, democracy's superior virtue lies in the fact that it calls into activity. See, actually, I kept with the answers. So, tell me, யாரெல்லாம் என்னென்ன ஆப்ஷன் போட்டீங்க? A யாரெல்லாம் போட்டீங்க? Okay, B. Okay, C. Your band of D. Okay, at least no. Okay, see, when such questions come like democracy, superior virtue, or liberty, or something like that comes, think இருக்கிறதுலே எந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் ரொம்ப broad இருக்கு and it is encapsulating everyone. That is the answer that would be suiting you. Okay, otherwise put India into that. India அந்த இதுல எடுத்து வச்சு பாருங்க. Strengthening executive leadership. அது மட்டுமா நம்ம பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம் டெமோக்ரஸில. Only the leadership, like executive leadership means who will come into that? President, Prime Minister, only அதை மட்டும் strengthen பண்றதுதான் டெமோக்ரஸியா? Are you getting that? Next, a superior individual with dynamism and vision. We are narrowing down. Remember, it is not broader, right? ரொம்ப narrow பண்ணி ஒரு பர்சன் கீழே எல்லாத்தையும் கொண்டு வரது வந்து will that be a democracy? என்னாச்சு? Okay, will that be democracy? Whereas here, if you take the character of ordinary men and women, we're including both men and women, and intelligence and character of ordinary mana சொல்றோம். So இதுல ஏதாவது நம்ம வந்து superior, inferior அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம think பண்றோமா? So which is more broader? And this one says a band of dedicated party workers. Is democracy is only for them? No, right? So ordinary men and women, and this is more broader than all the three statements. For these kind of questions, you may not know the answer directly, but go for the option which is very broad and encapsulating everyone. Clear? அப்படின்னா answers choose பண்ண முடியும். When you are like, if you don't, any question, not only with respect to polity, ஏதாவது ஒரு question வருது economy related அந்த மாதிரி, but if the question is broad, the answer should be also broad. It shouldn't be narrower. யாரையோ ஒருத்தவங்களை focus பண்ணி அப்படி question வரவே வராது. It should be more broader. Just go for those options. Okay? Next one. Consider the following statements regarding the identities provided by the Constitution. A constitution provides a collective identity to people when they agree to basic norms. இது எதுல இருந்து எடுத்திருக்காங்க? Indian Constitution at Work, NCERT books இருக்கு இல்லையா? அதுல வந்து கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன் வரும்போது ஒரு 3 பாயிண்ட் தனித்தனியா குட்டி குட்டி இதுல பிளாக்கா போட்டு வச்சிருப்பாங்க. அதுல இருந்து அப்படி காப்பி பண்ணி போட்டிருக்காங்க, வேற எதுவுமே பண்ணல. And that book is very, very important. How simply, அதாவது ஒரு 11th standard studentக்கு if they wanted to explain about constitution in a very simple language, the book could be. It won't be so complicated. If you go for any other books, like if you ரொம்ப ஸ்டாண்டர்டான books படிச்சீங்கன்னா it would be complicated. Whereas when you go for these kind of books, it will be as simple as that, and the statement is directly from that. Okay. A constitutional norms provide a political identity, but not a moral one. Is that true? Okay, இதுக்கு both 1 and 2 ஆன்சர் பண்ணவங்க யாரு? Okay, எதனால? If you think of the preamble itself, அதுல morality, we talk about constitutional morality. What is constitutional morality? Following the values enshrined in the Constitution, and the values which are enshrined in the Constitution are justice. Is that a moral one or not? Liberty, equality, fraternity, preamble and all irukka, idu naalume vandu moral one dana. Then how do you come to a conclusion that it is only about political identity and not a moral one? Are you getting? நான் சொல்ற கான்செப்ட் புரியுதா? உங்களுக்கு டவுட் வந்துச்சா? Just think, okay, preamble என்னன்னா கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Even preamble serves as, like, for us also it helps in identifying what the whole thing is about. அப்படின்ற மாதிரி. There is one thing, whether preamble is part of the constitution or not. Final verdict என்னதுல? Okay, it is part. And what is the utility of preamble? When there is any kind of a confusion and if you are not able to interpret, then go to the preamble and that will guide you in interpreting. And that will help you in interpreting the statements too. Okay, you know that, right? Justice comes under morality. Moral values la justice stands first, and equality. When you are becoming like an officer, you have to treat everyone equal. That is a moral thing. Okay, clear? The next one, constitutional government means. Okay, where என்ன options putting? And except D, any other options anyone have put? போட்டிருந்தீங்கன்னா கை தூக்குங்க. ஓகே, வேற போட்டிருக்கீங்களா? வேற ஆப்ஷனா? ஓகே, கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ல என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? See, this means you didn't even read that NCERT book. அவ்வளவுதான், as simple as that. If you read that NCERT Indian Constitution at work, it clearly says that constitution means limited government. Even in your polity book, it gives constitution is kind of a document which limits the powers of the government or the state, because they don't want to have more power with them. When they have like more power, what they do? Kind of a dictatorship idol. So எல்லா பவரும் ஒரு centralized authority கிட்ட இருந்துச்சுன்னா, it tends to become a dictatorship. So to prevent that from happening, constitution will clearly specify the rules that is necessary, and that will limit the powers of the government. That's why we have separation of powers. Why do we have separation of powers? Because executive should not usurp more power. If executive tries to usurp more power, legislative will come and put a block. If both legislative is trying to encroach upon, then judiciary will come and put a block. So that is how we try to have these kind of separation of powers. Okay. So constitutional government means nothing but it is a limited government. Limited government means where the powers of the government is getting reduced. The next is also the same thing. A constitutional government by definition is a. Okay, where any options putting a where yaravadu except the D. Any other options? C. Okay, multi-party government. Okay, I'm asking you. US is the oldest constitution. US is the oldest constitution. தெரியாதா? See, உங்களுக்கு தெரியலன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், இதுல என்ன போட்டிருக்கு? கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷனல் கவர்மெண்ட்னா ஒரு கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன் வச்சிருப்பாங்க, ஒரு கவர்மெண்ட் இருக்கும், அவ்வளவுதானே? United States of America, it is the oldest constitution. How many parties are there? 2 parties. Only 2 parties, right? Not multi-party. So think of like current scenario la eda or country போட்டு பார்த்தா கூட you can find it out. Even India has a constitution. என்னாச்சு? இல்ல, in general I'm telling to everyone, when you are not able to find answer for the question, take India as an example or any other country that நமக்கு ஓரளவுக்கு தெரிஞ்சதுன்னா USA பத்தி தெரியும். Since November only these elections happen, so you will be knowing about it. So think like இது apply பண்ணி பாருங்க, அங்க இருக்கு only 2 parties, not multi-party. So it is அது வந்து ஒரு criteria-வா இருக்காது. You can think like that. Next, so constitutional government is what? It is a limited government. Government by legislature. Popular government. Why is that it is saying these 2 things? புரியல. Government by legislature. Okay. Popular government. Okay, leave it. But this one, constitutional government means it is a limited government where the powers of the government is limited to a large extent. Okay. Next one, 16th question. In the context of the basic philosophy of the constitution, which of the following is or the functions of a constitution? Which are the functions of a constitution? வேற என்ன ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் கொடுத்தீங்க? இது தவிர வேற ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் எது கொடுத்தீங்க? Anyone? Except all. It provides a set of basic rules that allow for coordination among members of society. All these 3 points were taken from that NCERT. Nowhere else. It specifies who has powers to make decisions in a society. It sets limits on what a government can impose on its citizens. We have this fundamental rights where they tell that government can do this, or in this they give all the liberty to the freedom to the citizens, and they restricts government thing. அப்படிதானே இருக்கும் fundamental rights. Clear? ஏதாவது doubts இருக்கா? என்னாச்சு? என்ன டவுட்? You ask me. It provides a set of basic rules that allow for coordination among members of the society. அதுல உனக்கு என்ன டவுட்? ஏன் வராது? ஏன் வராது? அதனால 1 வராதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு 2 and 3 போட்டீங்க. Which shows that, see, in NCRT, I'm telling you that book, right? அதுல வந்து என்ன சொல்லிருப்பாங்க, அப்படியே ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்டெப் பை ஸ்டெப்பா போவாங்க. எப்படி வந்து ஒரு ஸ்டேட் ஃபார்ம் ஆகும், அப்புறம் ஸ்டேட்ல வந்து யார் வந்து அவங்களை கவர்ன் பண்ணணும்னு ஒரு கொஸ்டின் வரும். அப்ப அந்த கொஸ்டின் வரும்போது அவங்க எல்லாரும் என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, சேர்ந்து வந்து we will give certain நம்மளோட ரைட்ஸ், we will give certain rights and then we get more protection. That is what how the constitution will come into அப்படின்னு the step by step clear. In that, the first statement is this: it provides a set of basic rules that allow for coordination among members of the society. Because when in a society, we people always tend to live in harmony. We talk about fraternity. In fraternity is about brotherhood. And then we have to ensure that kind of coordination for harmony of the society. That is what it is. Okay, the 17th one. In the context of India, which one of the following is the characteristic appropriate for bureaucracy? Why do we have bureaucracy? Bureaucracy oda role enna? Okay, any other options? வேற யாராவது போட்டிருக்கீங்களா? Okay, யாராவது C போட்டிருக்கீங்களா? பப்பாட் ஆப்ஷனரா? இல்ல. Okay. B PSAR. Okay. B யாராச்சும்? A. See, why I asked this, when I was studying, I chose the option as C. Because why do we have bureaucracy அப்படின்னு பப்பாட்லனா ரொம்ப படிக்கும்போது அது என்னன்னா ஓவர் திங்கிங், ஓவரா படிச்சா இந்த மாதிரி பிரச்சனை வரும். அதுல வந்து என்ன சொல்லிருப்பாங்கன்னா, if the government is like ஒரு hung government, இல்லைன்னா வந்து மெஜாரிட்டி இல்லாம லைக் பிரசிடென்ட்ஸ் ரூல் அந்த மாதிரினா வரும்போது, டு மெயின்டைன் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் த ஸ்டெபிலிட்டி அண்ட் growth மெயின்டைன் பண்றதுக்கு bureaucracy plays a major role அப்படின்னு ஒரு பாயிண்ட் வரும். But that is secondary. The first thing, the problem is, நம்ம வந்து என்ன நினைப்போம், நமக்கு மட்டும்தான் இந்த ஆப்ஷன் தெரியுன்ற ஒரு ஆணவத்துல we tend to put that option C as right. But what happens is we try to overlook that common thing which is common for all the bureaucracy. When the government is there or not, they have to implement the policies of the government. So that is the first thing they do. Primary responsibility of a bureaucracy is implementation of policy. Of course, they do this. But இதுல நமக்கு என்னது, choose the best option now. So this is the best one. This can be better, but not the best when these two things are given. Clear? புரிஞ்சுதா? ஆணவத்தெல்லாம் விட்டு ஒழிச்சிருங்க. Okay, the next one, 18th one. One common agreement between Gandhism and Marxism is. Okay, the A தவிர போட்டவங்கன்னா கை தூக்குங்க. Okay, எனக்கு ஒரு விஷயம், எனக்கு இது ஒன்னும் விஷயம் மட்டும் புரியல. கிளாஸ் ஸ்டடி போட்டீங்களா? நீங்க abolition of private property. காந்தி அந்த அளவுக்கு சொன்னாங்களா என்ன? பிரைவேட் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டியே இருக்கக்கூடாதுன்னு. See, one Gandhi's on the concentric circles, Gram Swaraj, கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? Where they say that only this principle of subsidiarity அப்படின்னு Gandhi would be saying, only if we have small villages, right, the villages should be self-reliant. என்னென்ன உங்களால பண்ண முடியுமோ, they should do all the things that is capable of them. Only those things which cannot be maintained or which cannot be done by them should be taken to the next level. That is what is known as principle of subsidiarity. Abhi concentric circles ah povanga. That is how village and the municipality, corporation adella appadha increase aite pogum. State, central. So this is how. That's why we keep like defense and foreign affairs with central. Even state cannot do that. Clear? This is what is the principle of subsidiarity means. That's why we have in our 72nd and 73rd Constitution, 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, we have this, we have certain list which is given to this local self-government. சில functions devolve பண்ணிருக்கோம்ல. It is mainly for that purpose. Okay, that is what இது நம்ம வந்து அந்த செல்ஃப் ரிலையன்ஸ் வரும்போது காந்தி என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா we don't even want a state finally. That is what he told about. The same thing what Marx told us also, but both the means are different, but the end is same. புரியுதா? இந்த இங்க கொடுத்திருக்கிற அந்த BCD இருக்கு இல்லையா, all the BCD are the means of Marx. It is not the means of Gandhi. That is the difference. காந்தி சொல்றது எல்லாமே என்னன்னா கோஆபரேஷன்ஸ், கோஆபரேட்டிவ்ஸ், அப்புறம் வந்து he'll be talking about empowering people, cottage industries. Likewise he'll be talking about industrialization தேவையில்ல, cooperatives அந்த மாதிரி he'll be talking about. That is the difference between Marxism and Gandhism. And the final goal is, that is what the final goal is. The end is same. Just have that in your mind. End is same, but entirely the means of both the things are entirely different. Okay. Next, out of the following statements, choose the one that brings out the principle underlying the cabinet form of government. Cabinet form of government, why do we have that? An arrangement for minimizing criticism against the government whose responsibilities are complex and hard to carry out to the satisfaction of all. A mechanism for speeding up the activities of the government whose responsibilities are increasing day by day. A mechanism of parliamentary democracy for ensuring collective responsibility of the government to the people. A device for strengthening the hands of the head of the government whose hold over people is in a state of decline. In the rendula, if I think like you might have thought about B and C. Correct? What option putting it? C. B போட்டோம்னா see, cabinet form of government doesn't mean it is only that small thing. நீங்க வந்து இது வந்து ரொம்ப shallow form of thinking with respect to polity. Okay, it is a very shallow form of thinking. Whereas, why do we have this cabinet form? We have ministers within the legislatures itself. Why do we have them? Why do we have ministers within legislature itself? Where they are being responsible to the Lok Sabha, especially to the Lok Sabha. That is what the statement given in the constitution itself. Clear? It is not saying to the whole like parliament, rather it is mainly to the Lok Sabha. That is what the cabinet form of government is about. Because when they are coming with any policies or acts, they have to get it passed in the Lok Sabha, right? அப்ப Lok Sabha கிட்ட அவங்க வந்து ஒவ்வொரு தடவையும் பாஸ் பண்ணும்போது என்ன ஆகும்? They are checking their majority. Only if they have the majority, they can get that passed. Then and if anything happens, then the Lok Sabha will be questioning the ministers. We have start question and start question. They are questioning them. We also have question ours. All these things ensure that they are being responsible towards the people through this representatives. Clear? Next, what is this? Consider the following parts: initiative, recall, plebiscite, and referendum. What does initiative means? These are all forms of direct democracy. Okay. What is initiative for? பீப்புளுக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஆக்ட் வேணும், இல்லைன்னா ஏதாவது ஒரு பாலிசி வேணும்னா பீப்புள் கிட்ட இருந்து ஒரு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஒரு இனிஷியேட்டிவ் வருதுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. தட் இஸ் வாட் இஸ் இனிஷியேட்டிவ், நத்திங் எல்ஸ். நெக்ஸ்ட், ரீகால், the right of people to call back their representative through petition. எங்களுக்கு இந்த பர்சன் எங்களை ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ண வேண்டாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி they will give a petition and that person will be recalled back. That is what is recall. Then plebiscite. Okay, what is the difference between plebiscite and referendum? I am asking you the difference between what is a plebiscite and what is a referendum. See, in plebiscite, it is kind of an advisory. It is not, there is no obligation from the government side to accept what the people are telling. Now, if suppose an voting is being happened, think like that. And we have this Brexit, or okay, you can take this Jammu and Kashmir, we had a referendum, we have to have a referendum, not there. Junagadh, we had a referendum where they told that people wanted to join. Okay, right, wait, I'll think of another thing. Okay, just take a simple thing. We had this Brexit where the people wanted to like exit from the European Union. Britain exit from the European Union, right? Now British is not part of the European Union, right? What they done is people கிட்ட வந்து ஒரு voting வச்சாங்க. Voting வச்சுட்டு what the people gives the verdict and the voting they will count it like 50, even if it is 51% or 50.1% of the people like voted in favor of exiting from the European Union, then it is obligatory or binding on the government to follow that. That is what is referendum. Okay, whereas with respect to plebiscite, there is no binding obligation on the government. This is the major difference between the plebiscite and the referendum. See, both the things are ரெண்டு லைனுமே ஒரே இதுதான் போட்டிருக்காங்க, plebiscite and referendum. What? No, the third and the fourth one, the definition is same. That is what I'm telling you. In okay. So the next one, 21. What was the exact constitution? See, this was given in the parliament on Indian polity irukliya. Initiative, recall, forms of direct democracy, ஒரு பெரிய பாரால கொடுத்திருப்பாங்க with all the examples in Indian polity it is given. Exactly, ஒரு பாரால அப்படி இருக்கும், you can just read that. It is more than sufficient. The next one is, what was the exact constitutional status of India on 26th January 1950? Okay, and which one was added? Which two things were added? And integrity or unity? See, I have told this many a times in both the classes. Please go through the bad constitution. Okay. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and here unity and integrity of the nation. And they added this for unity of the nation. They have put this and integrity, and this is done by the 42nd Amendment Act 1946. Clear? I'm sorry, 1976. Clear? Please, in the preamble, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, GPSPs, it is your duty to read the bad constitution, no matter what. Once a question came, like with respect to fundamental rights, the question was as simple as like, wait a minute. Fundamental rights irka? Ila general no category irka? Next, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation. The question was like right against exploitation kila enna idu irukku avladhaan. The question was like that. But when you see your polity book or some other things, these the headings will be missing there. Our article, they'll just go through the continuous articles. This thing will be missing. Whereas in NCERT it was given. NCERT la taniya right to freedom, right against exploitation அப்படினு போட்டு ஒவ்வொரு heading கீழ தனித்தனியா articles இருக்கும். Either do, but this is must. Do read this bar constitution at least once, especially for these topics. Okay. Next. The mind of the makers of the Constitution of India is reflected in which of the following? யாரெல்லாம் தப்பா போட்டீங்க? யாராவது தப்பா போட்டீங்களா? See, when was the preamble came into being? First or after last? After the making of the full constitution, அது எல்லாத்தையும் crux எல்லாம் தூக்கி என்ன பண்ணாங்க? Preamble they kept it. Because that serves as the preface to the constitution. Because the constitution enshrines these things and we wanted to provide these things to the people. And the source of power is the? Yaru? People or வேற யாருமா? People. Okay. Next. 23rd question. In the context of polity, which one of the following would you accept as the most appropriate definition of liberty? So, what answers did you give? C கொடுத்தவங்கன்னா யாரு? opportunity to do whatever one likes, right? Just think it in another negative context. There are people who like indulge in robbery, thieves, அவங்கலாம் இருக்காங்க. எனக்கு அது பண்ண பிடிச்சிருக்கு நான் பண்றேன். Can the government allow that to happen? Is that a liberty means? Liberty stands till the extent to the person's nose. You can't even touch that other person's nose, right? So what it will be? வேற என்ன ஆப்ஷன் போட்டீங்க? சி தவிர டி தானே. Absence of restraint. ஏன் கட்டுப்பாடே இல்லாம இருந்தா அதுக்கு பேர் என்ன? இல்ல கட்டுப்பாடே இல்லாம இருந்தா அதுக்கு பேர் என்ன? then we would be like back then homo sapiens neanderthals எப்படி இருந்தாங்களோ அப்படிதான் நம்ம இருக்க முடியும். யார் வேணாலும் யாரை வேணாலும் அடிக்கலாம், என்ன வேணாலும் பண்ணலாம். See, we have certain conditions. That's why they say that kind of ஒரு rules இருக்கு. நம்ம பேசணுமா, உங்களுக்கு ஒரு டவுட் வந்தது இல்லையா? We give certain kind of our freedom to get more protection from the government. This is what it is. When we are living like back ரொம்ப ancient அந்த ரேஞ்ச்ல இருக்கும்போது, like even before that, they had like anyone can do whatever they want. That is what it is. But that doesn't give that kind of a safety and security to the people. So they came like we will choose a person and we will listen to that person. So we are giving our own certain thing. நம்மளா திங்க் பண்றது போல இன்னொரு பர்சன் நமக்கு பதிலா திங்க் பண்ணட்டும், நம்மளோட ஃப்ரீடம் அவங்களுக்கு கொடுக்குறோம்ல, இல்ல நம்மளோட லிபர்ட்டி அவங்களுக்கு கொடுக்குறோம்ல. That is how these kind of அப்படி அந்த லீடர்ஸ் ராஜா அதெல்லாம் அப்படிதான் வரும். அந்த கிளான், ட்ரைபல் கிளான்ஸ், everything happened like that only. So in this absence of restraint is like an extreme form. கட்டுப்பாடே இல்லாம யார் வேணாலும் எப்படி வேணாலும் இருக்கலாம்ங்கிறது வந்து then it is not a civilized one. Okay, the next one. Anything else? Yeah. நம்ம அதுக்குள்ள நோ பண்ணணும். Okay, see, in all these three things, which is more positive and broader, that is what it is. உங்களுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு டவுட் வருது, இதுவா அதுவா, இருக்கிறதுலே எது ரொம்ப பாசிட்டிவா இருக்கு? Liberty is a positive term. Liberty is a positive term. Then think which it should be, the answer should be positive and it should be broad. Which is more broader? To develop oneself fully. For that we are providing nutrition, education, health, everything we give, and we also provide those kind of opportunities like skilling ellame kudukromla. That is what is the liberty. And it is not available only to one section of society, rather it is available to all the sections of the society. Clear? Next, 24. Which one of the following reflects the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty? யாரெல்லாம் பி போடல? Okay. Okay, now in this context, this one was a very confusing question and came in 2020, I think. I'm not 2020 or 21, I'm not sure, but this came. See, now think of India. We have more laws. Think of India. ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. இந்த மாதிரி கொஸ்டின் ஒரு மாதிரி வேகா இருக்குன்னா ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. இந்தியால லாஸ் இருக்கா இல்லையா? We have more laws. இல்ல ஒவ்வொரு செக்ஷன் கேயும் as we can say environment மட்டுமே எத்தனை legislations we have. Likewise for income tax we have more legislations. Like நம்ம இப்ப தானே அதை rationalize பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருக்கோம். ஒவ்வொரு இதா we are like calming it down. இதுக்கு இவ்வளவு தேவை கிடையாது, we should rationalize it. Certain laws are outdated, we have to calm it down. So இது எல்லாமே, which means we have more laws. Do India give us liberty or not? If there are more laws, there is less liberty. In India, whether our constitution has guaranteed liberty to us or not. So there are more laws, there is no less liberty. So the first statement you can omit it. Now go to the second. Okay, go to the third one. If there is liberty, laws have to be made by the people. In India, do the laws are made by the people? Are we making laws? Yes, sir. We are not making laws, right? The representatives of us are making the laws. Correct? Next. If laws are changed too often, even, okay, if there is liberty, if you go there, we have certain customs, we have certain conventions. We also follow certain conventions given by international organizations, United Nations. We follow that. The human development report, we have those things and we are following that. Next, okay, D. If laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. How many amendments have we made? Constitution alone, we have made around close to 106. And with respect to various rules we have, GST க்கு எத்தனை amendment பண்ணிருக்கோம்? We don't know it. But there are rules which over meeting up, they come up with various amendments that they have been changing the rules frequently. Why do we call our constitution as a living document or an organic document? Because to keep it relevant to the changing society, we amend our constitution, right? So can we say that if they are changed often, that liberty is in danger? Can we say that? No. See, for these kind of things, put India and think in a very positive thing. Other than that, negative think positive think okay? So if there are no laws, there is no liberty. If there are no laws, then what will happen? See, think during this cryptocurrency thing happened, right? We didn't have any kind of income tax or no kind of restraints available to the people. Anyone can go and trade in cryptocurrency. That was the period during 2019 and 2020. And many of our Indian people have lost a lot of money with that respect to that. Kelvipatrikingla? The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple, most like that, there were various cryptocurrencies. And after that only people, our government came with like certain rules, and now only they have included that in income tax. Clear? So if there are no laws, there is no liberty. Clear? புரிஞ்சுதா? இப்ப எதுவுமே இல்ல, யாருனாலும் யார வேணாலும் கொல்லலாம்னா என்ன ஆகும்? If someone is being killed, or if anyone is indulging in murder and he don't get punished, then what will happen? Then there will be no liberty for the other person who got killed. புரியுதா நான் சொல்ற கான்செப்ட்? So apply and see for certain things, just apply it and see, you will be able to identify. Okay, the next one, 25. Time is 9:40. Which one of the following factors constitutes the best safeguard of liberty in a liberal democracy? This one I already explained. Liberty means we need to have like separation of powers. If one is like getting to encroach into other department or trying to usurp power, then we need to control it. That's why we have these kind of separation of powers. We cannot ensure that one person is controlling or one section is controlling all the powers. That's why to ensure that the liberty is safeguarded, we need to have separation of powers. A committed judiciary will ensure liberty. If the judiciary is being committed to anything, will they ensure the liberty? இப்போ ஒரு சாதாரண பர்சன்னாலும் கோர்ட்ல போய் they can like ask for justice. Now if the judiciary is committed to one section of the society and is against another one, then what will happen? The liberty will be going down. The next one, centralization of powers. It is a negative thing. Next, elected government. Can only an elected government ensure liberty? Elected government மட்டும் இருந்துட்டா liberty ensure பண்ண முடியுமா? Okay. Next, which one of the following objectives is not embodied in the preamble to the Constitution of India? Preamble என்னது வருது? One second. They talk of liberty. In liberty, thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Is there any economic liberty given? Next, a constitutional government is one which places effective restrictions on individuals' liberty in the interest of state authority. What did we talk about now? A constitutional government is a limiting government. It tries to limit the powers of the government, not powers of the citizens. So the first statement is wrong. Okay. The second one, it places effective restrictions on the authority of the state in the interest of individual liberty. That is correct. Clear? So first statement is wrong, which is exactly opposite of what is constitutional government. Okay. The next one. One of the implications of equality in society is the absence of privileges. Where ஏதாவது போட்டீங்களா இதெல்லாம்? Any other options did you give? Like restraints, competition, ideology? கொடுத்தீங்களா? என்ன கொடுத்தீங்க? Restraints. Okay. See, equality in society, restraints just now we talked about. Why restraints are necessary? because we need to have certain things from people indulge ஆகக்கூடாதுன்றதுக்காகவே we prevent people from indulging in certain things. For example, in fundamental rights, right against exploitation ஒன்னு இருக்கு இல்லையா, that is a kind of a restraint that we have. Correct? Then competition இருக்குதானே இந்தியாலயுமே, we have many competition commissions. For example, UPSC itself is a competitive examination. Then ideology. In ideology, we have all kind of ideology. Illa ideology, whatever be, you can see that in India. Next, economic justice, the objectives of constitution has been as one of the Indian provided in the preamble. Okay, economic justice as the objectives of the constitution has been provided in edula now economic justice. Fundamental rights la enna justice கொடுப்பாங்க? Social, political, economic. எது? So எல்லாமே சொல்லிட்டேன். Okay. See, economic justice specifically it is given in preamble. We just now saw justice, political, economical, and social. And DPSP also clearly talks about the economic justice, where they talk about the wages should be equal for both men and women, and like workers in the management of the company and the industries la vandu workers oda contribution irukano. So those things talks about the economic justice. Okay, the next one, through the 42nd amendment to the Constitution of the India, which of the following was or were inserted into its preamble? Liberty of thought was substituted by liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Is that so? No. The expression unity of the nation was substituted by unity and integrity of the nation. Yes. So 42nd amendment Act. Yes. Next, which one of the following factors ensures the best protection of equality in a liberal democracy? Equality. How equality can be ensured? By having a leadership, can you ensure that equality is being there? Then limited role of the judiciary. Limited role, not even a role of judiciary, rather it has specified as limited role. Then empowerment of marginalized groups and concentration of powers in a single body. Will that ensure equality? So the only option which suits all these things is C. Next, 32nd, the statement 1. The preamble is an integral part of the Indian Constitution, guiding the interpretation and application of the constitutional provisions. Statement 2. The preamble is a source of power and prohibition upon the powers of the Indian legislature. The first statement is right. What about the second one? Is that a source of power that prohibits the Indian legislature? Clear? See, சில டைம் ரொம்ப ஓவரா யோசிச்சீங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், தப்பா தான் போடுவீங்க. முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு சிம்பிள் ஒன், ஜஸ்ட் நிறைய இன்டர்பிரிட்டேஷன், இதுக்கு இந்த அர்த்தம் இருக்கு, அதுக்கு அந்த அர்த்தம் அப்படின்னா, ஜஸ்ட் read it as a plain statement and come up with the solution for that. Okay. Next, consider the following constitutional amendment acts. How many of the above amendments to the Indian constitutions amended the preamble to the constitution? Only once the preamble is being amended, and it is done by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. That's it. Which of the following statements best describes the relation between liberty and equality? There is something known as Trinity. Trinity னு ஒன்னு படிச்சிருக்கீங்களா? Polity bookல இருக்கும். What is the Trinity? Liberty, equality, and fraternity. All these things. Without liberty, you cannot ensure equality and fraternity. Without equality, you cannot ensure liberty and fraternity. Without fraternity, liberty and equality cannot be ensured. Okay, that is what in Polity, Lakshmikant, that is clearly given under one section. And what B.R. Ambedkar talked about when he is telling this liberty, equality, and fraternity should be included. They talked about these things. Okay. Can equality is a hindrance to liberty? Is that so? Is that so? Liberty and equality are mutually exclusive. One cannot coexist with the other. That's why I told you it is known as a trinity. In the mood same exist another, we can ensure anything on the madri. Then equality is only necessary for the privileged few, whereas liberty benefits everyone. Is that so? The next one. The term liberty of thought and expression in the preamble is intrinsically linked to Article 19 of the Constitution. What is Article 19 of the Constitution? Freedom of speech and expression. And what is it talking about? Liberty of thought and expression in the preamble. Both are linked together. You have the freedom to speak whatever you want, provided we have certain reasonable restrictions. Except that you have the freedom to communicate whatever you wanted to communicate. Yes. Next, the ideals of liberty in the preamble of the Constitution have been taken from the French Revolution. Yes. From French Revolution, we took this liberty, equality, fraternity. All these things were taken from the French Revolution. Next, consider the following statements. The Republic ensures that all citizens are equal in the eyes of the law. Yes. Yes, Republic is like that only, right? Everyone is equal. No one is like above the law. And in Republic, even for the president of post, anyone can go and occupy, can just go and nominate yourself for that. Yes. Next, the Republican nature of governance guarantees that all public offices are open to every citizen. Yes. So both the statements are right. Sorry. Neither. Okay, sorry. The question is very good. Very good. Correct. It is incorrect. So, block letters are normal. But in UPSC, they will give in block letters. Okay. And otherwise, in italics, it will be given. Yarla incorrect pakla in the madri. Very good. Vaanga. Sangathukula seindutinga. Okay. Okay, now the 37th one. Which one of the following statements with reference to the Constitution of India is correct? Part 9 of the Constitution is about the municipalities. Part 9 Part 9B of the Constitution. Okay. Part 15 of the Constitution is about tribunals. Part 16 of the Constitution is about elections. Part 16 of another? Okay, I remember when I was studying, I see this video and it is a Tamil video. Parts part 16 sweet 16 now. So it is very special. So special provisions. Prida? Part 16. When you turn into 16, we say it is sweet 16. So it is kind of, you can remember it is so special, it is special provisions. You can remember it. I think you will never forget that. Then one more thing is like part 18. Part 18. What is it about? And okay, for that, 18 is like 108. If it is emergency, you call for 108. So 18, 108, emergency. Something. See, these things actually help. So something like that. Just I just shared it. Next, 38. Which of the following statements are correct about the Constitution of India? Powers of the municipality are given in Part 9A of the Constitution. Emergency provisions are given in Part 18 of the Constitution. Provisions related to the amendment of the Constitution are given in Part 20 of the Constitution. All these three are correct. See, these things try to have any mnemonics which padikradha irundhalum padinga illana like idhe madri ipo na sonname edha rendu moonu ide edha neenga think panni vechittingana kuda it is okay. Likewise, you try to remember it. Then, which one of the following best defines the term state? So, what state la enna include agum? So, first adula vandu people irupanga. Then there will be a definite territory. Then there will be a government, okay. Then we have to be sovereign. We have to establish our own rules and regulations and we should not be under anyone. That is utmost important. Okay, sovereign, that is most important. When you give a term as state. Okay. A community of persons permanently occupying definite territory, independent of external control and possessing an organized government. All these three things are encapsulated in this one statement. Whereas here, if you take, it is a politically organized people of a definite territory. Is that so? And possessing an authority to govern them, maintain law and order, protect their natural rights, and safeguard their means of sustenance. But இதுல வந்து external control பத்தி ஒரு வார்த்தை கூட பேசல. Okay. Next, a number of persons who have been living in a definite territory for a very long time with their own culture, traditions, and government. Can that be? Next, a society permanently living in a definite territory with the central authority and executive responsible to the central authority and an independent judiciary. இது எல்லாம் மத்த மூணு ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்ல பார்த்தாலுமே அந்த எக்ஸ்டர்னல் கண்ட்ரோல் சாவரன் அப்படின்ற ஒரு விஷயத்தை வந்து ஒமிட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Correct? And being sovereign is utmost important. Otherwise, we will be always dependent on someone else. Then we doesn't come under the statement of state. Okay? Now, the next one, 40th question. Consider the following statements with reference to Article 1 of the Indian states. It describes India as a federation of states. யாரெல்லாம் அதுக்கு one correct ன்னு போட்டிருக்கீங்க? Anyone thought that one is right? Okay. The territory of India includes only the states and union territories at the time of the adoption of the Constitution. Okay. The Constitution of India does not provide a procedure for the alteration of the boundaries of the states, as it is solely under the domain of the Union Parliament. They have provided it. India, that is Bharat, shall be Union of States. And what are the territory of India shall comprises territories of the states, union territories, and such other territories as may be acquired. So in the ஒரு point eliminate பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Okay. Then formation of new states, alteration of areas, names of existing states, எல்லாத்துக்குமே a procedure has been clearly given in the Constitution. See. The bill for the purpose shall be introduced in either house of the parliament except on the recommendation of the president and unless where the proposal, okay, just read it. Since you might have all read about Indian polity at least once எல்லாருமே Indian polity read பண்ணிருப்பீங்கல்ல, you have that knowledge to read it. The same thing, try to read it. நீங்க preamble படிச்சீங்களா? Preamble படிச்ச உடனே வந்து இந்த bar constitutionல just once read that and see. Then once you complete your this first one with respect to states and union territories, immediately come and read it once. Okay, because UPSC gives the language of the Constitution, not from Indian polity, Rajmikant. I have told this in classes also. The simple majority, special majority, effective majority, all these things, these are words given in the Indian polity, not in bar constitution. Clear? Next. So all these three are actually wrong. Next, 41. In the context of modern nation states, which of the following are the features of a soft state? Non-possession of military force and war weapons. First, let me ask you a question. Is India a soft state? India is a soft state. India is a soft state. That doesn't, do we go and fight with anyone like in a defensive mode? Do we go and fight with anyone? We don't indulge that. We have these, though we have nuclear weapons, we always have what? No first use policy. Unless you trigger something, we don't do anything else. We are a soft state. And non-possession of military force and war weapons. Even, is that true? Without having military force. Now every country has a military force to actually defend themselves. Next, poor enforcement of rule of law. Can that be? Enachu. புரியல. But poor enforcement, how that can be a soft state? I don't. அதுக்கு actually இன்னொரு நேம் உண்டு. Formalism னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Formalism is where that you have lot of rules and things and by okay, formalism வராது. Just like we'll be having all these things but we won't follow that. அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு concept but that is not here. This poor enforcement of rule of law will not, if it is a soft state means that they doesn't indulge in like offensive mode, but they ensure that everything is being handled properly. Okay. Next, which one of the following terms was used for the states in the draft constitution presented by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on 4th November 1948? Union of states, federation of states, autonomous states, subsidiary states. Federation of states will not come because we didn't come together with an agreement, first thing. Then autonomous states, we ensure that the center should have more power. So autonomous states will not be there. Then subsidiary states. Can we think that states are subsidiary to the center? That also we don't think. So it is mostly like union of states. We come together to form this union. Okay, next. Consider the following statements with reference to the post-independence reorganization of states. The States Reorganization Commission accepted the theory of one language, one state. Is that true? What did they say? They strictly, another one, just one language, one state, they didn't, strictly they didn't mention that. Okay. Next, Andhra Pradesh was the first state created after the acceptance of the recommendations of the State Reorganization Committee. Even before the State Reorganization Committee comes up with recommendations, Andhra Pradesh was formed. Who actually fasted? And he actually died on the fasting. So immediately after that, Andhra Pradesh was created. Okay, not after the committee gave its recommendations. Next, so neither one nor two. A new state can be formed by uniting two or more states through a bill passed by simple majority. Yes or no? So what will they do here? So if they wanted to change, if they wanted to create a new state or by merging two or more states, what do we do? First, the president will actually give that thing to the particular state that is in talk. Then they will actually pass, they will discuss, and they will come up with some certain kind of resolution. Whether the resolution is binding or not on the president, it is not binding. Okay. Then what will the parliament do? By a simple majority, they can create, alter, or merge any states. Next, consider the following statements regarding the reorganization of the states. An Indian territory can be ceded to a foreign country by a constitutional amendment. A boundary dispute settlement between India and another country does not require a constitutional amendment. See, when we are giving certain part of our country, which was being our part of our country to another country, then that requires a constitutional amendment. In which case it was told? In Beribari Union case, Beribari was actually after the constitutional amendment was done, we gave. And the other one being this Bangladeshi enclaves, where certain enclaves were within Indian territory and certain Indian enclaves were in Bangladeshi territory. So we had this, which Constitutional Amendment Act? 100th Constitutional Amendment Act, that is mainly for this exchange of enclaves. Then boundary dispute settlement, any example which is being done? Kachativu. That is done just by an agreement between the Indian government and the Sri Lankan government. It is a boundary dispute settlement. Okay. And that doesn't require any constitutional amendment. Because that was like, which part it is lying, that is what the problem is. Clear? Purinjada? Next. Consider the following statements regarding the expression Union of States under Article 1. All the states and union territories are part of the expression Union of States. Is that true? Union states and union territories are Union of States means only states. Union territories are territories of the central government, have direct control over that. Yes. So states come together to form the Union of States. Next, a union territory enjoys a similar relationship as states with the union government. Is that so? Do the union territories have the same kind of authority and things like the state has? Or the relationship between the state and the union government, or union territory and union government, are they same? No. Okay. The next one. Before recommending a bill for altering the boundaries of a state, the president has to refer the same to a state legislature concerned for expressing its views within a specified period. Statement 2, the president is bound by the views of the concerned state legislature. Just now we talked about that president is not bound by the views of the state legislature. So the second statement is wrong, whereas the first statement is right. Okay. Now the 48th question, an Indian citizen may lose his or her citizenship when he or she acquires the citizenship of any other foreign state during war? Yes. Unlawfully trades or communicates with the enemy during a war. That is also true. Has been imprisoned in any country for 2 years after becoming a naturalized citizen within 5 years. If a foreign citizen, he came to India, he became a naturalized citizen. Now what happens in that first 5 years if he has gone to any other country and there if he has been imprisoned for 2 years, then his citizenship will be cancelled. Okay, these are the 3 criteria. புரியல. Acquires the citizenship of any other foreign states during war. Central government கீழ் புரியல எனக்கு. Okay. Okay, next the 49th statement. With reference to India, consider the following statements. There is only one citizenship and one domicile. A citizen by birth only can become the head of the state. Is that true? Even a naturalized citizen can become a head of the state. But this statement, a citizen by birth, it is followed in which country? In USA. Okay, that is the natural born that they can only stand for the president election. A foreigner once granted citizenship cannot be deprived of it under any circumstances. Next, 50th. Children of foreign diplomats posted in India, enemy aliens, a child of an illegal migrant. How many of the above mentioned persons would get citizenship by birth in India? It is clearly specified these persons will not get citizenship under any circumstances. And so this statement, none is the answer. Clear? See, tomorrow, what is your topics? We'll start right.